Hey everybody, all right, it's Ryan with Ryan's Gay Chicago and Harvey Historical Society. Forgive me, I'm still getting set up, but I am at Rabid Brewing in Homewood. So we're behind, you can see the casino in the distance. So we're behind Home Depot and Jewel off of Halstead, and we're going to talk a little bit about Homewood tonight. I'll still cover some Harvey stuff as well, but I wanted to catch a little bit of what was going on here because there's something that has happened that's been really big in the community, and people are not happy about it. So right now, this is a Rabid Brewery. This is their Homewood location, and it is a local business owned by Homewood residents. So yes, before I start, I have the owners here and everything, but what I want to do is try to figure out on StreamYard here, I want to change to change the orientation so you can see more of us on the screen at once. And I don't know how to do that. So if you know how to do that, can you let me know? I have to Google it. Hold on. Settings. You cannot switch orientation if you've gone live, so ensure you change it before starting your stream. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I might have to close and come back in. Enter the studio. Click on the settings button, usually located on the bottom row of buttons. Settings, general. Okay. All right, so it says I probably can't do it, but I don't even see a thing for settings. Darn it. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe we'll just have to do this for today. I apologize, guys. I think if I end it, then I have to create a new link, right? I did that yesterday, and that stuff drives me nuts. Well, anyway, yeah. So this will just have to work for now. I think I'll make it work. So we are here. You should be able to hear us okay, but I have a mic. Can everybody hear okay? Who's on with me right now? I have my mic, and then I have a handheld mic too. So, but yeah, you guys can feel free to comment and let me know if you're hearing things okay. Comments, banners. Okay. Cool. But yeah, screwed it up. I knew I was supposed to change orientation before I started, so I apologize that it's a little narrow. Oh well, I'll fix it next time. How's everybody doing today? Can you guys hear okay? Oh wait, there are settings at the bottom. Oops. Stop. Let me see. It says I can't change it, but you never know. Okay, so then it says camera. Oh, I see. I can select the camera. Mirror, touch on virtual background recording. What about general? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, no, oh, that's weird. It's already set to landscape. Oh, okay. So why does it show up in portrait? I don't know, you guys. I'm still learning StreamYard. Huh. Yeah, it's not even. It says you cannot change orientation settings while you're live, but yeah, it's already listed at landscape. That's really weird. Okay, well, I'll have to figure that out later. Hello, French. Bonsoir. It's a beautiful sunset here. You can kind of see a little bit. So again, if you're just joining, I'm at Rabid Brewery. I'm actually going to show you guys. I'll take you for a walk inside. I'm just going to show people inside, and then I'll come out and talk to you guys. Can you hear okay, French? Let me know if you guys can hear. So I'm starting off covering this story with Rabid Brewery. I talked about it briefly last night, but residents in Homewood are very upset because the village board recently voted to not, after apparently leading this local business along for 2 years, decided to tell them, okay, thank you, French, merci, decided to tell them, oh, just kidding, we're going to give this building we set aside for you to another company. And residents are not happy. But I just wanted to show you, this is their current location. So it's really cool, kind of alternative place. They have a lot, like, it's very gay friendly. They have, you see like, the LGBT, different flags. You can come watch them sumo wrestling. Here's the bar. So you can see there's that cool mural up there. Can you all see okay? So look, let's see some of their drinks. For instance, we have, oh, they do have some pizzas too. Okay, cool. Nephilim, Bewitched, Hemo Goblin, Lilitu. So it's a really cool kind of almost like Dungeons and Dragons sort of feel. Nicole says, tell Calvin hi. Oh yeah, he's one of the bartenders, right? Well, thanks, Nicole. Merci. Yeah, I'll tell her. I'll tell him hello. They have like a little altar set up. So it's really cool. Look, they have games. So my question, of course, Calvin, Nicole says hello. I don't know Nicole, but I told him you said hi. He says hi. So that's your friend? Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, so, why this place seems so cool, right? Like, why wouldn't the village board want them to have that place? I don't understand. So, like I said, people are not happy, guys. We're going to talk a little bit with the owners and see how they feel and just get the story and maybe find out a few other things about what's going on in Homewood. Look, I would come just for the huge sumo wrestling alone. I mean, isn't that the coolest? And then if you go outside, oh, you're welcome, Nicole. If you go outside, look at this. It's so cool. Let me actually, that I can do. I can turn my camera around for a second. I figured how to do that. Okay. So we'll do back camera. Isn't this cool? Look at, ooh. So it's like nice open field. And that's, like I said, that's the casino there. Look at beautiful sunset. Nice. So yeah, so this is their current location in Homewood. Okay, I'm with the they should be able to hear us, but I don't know. I have a mic just in case. So these are the owners. Here, you guys, you can hold it. Hold it. Right. Yeah. So these are the owners of Rab. So do you guys want to introduce yourselves and tell us about your wonderful business here?
My name is Tobias Sisha, and this is Ray Rosado. We are a husband and wife team who created Rabid Brewing, and we opened our doors in 2017.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Did you want to say anything, wifey?
Wifey.
Sorry, is that bad? She's giving me a look now.
Mad, though. I'm just mad.
No, justifiably. I gave our viewers a tour. Again, thank you for just joining us. Again, I'm in Homewood. I gave them a tour of your lovely establishment, and just to show them how nice it was. And that was our question tonight is, well, why would the board not want to support this awesome business? Tell the viewers what you were telling me earlier as far as how many people come for that one event. You said it was like 1,000 people or something?
Yeah, Feast of the Goat Queen, which is our largest annual festival that we throw, has, I think, 1,200 came last year.
Wow.
There were attendees from across the pond. There were attendees from Europe. And so we have a very large drag, and we draw people from all over the world here.
And guys, just so you know, like that's amazing, right? Like Homewood has a really cute downtown, but they're tucked behind big box stores on Halstead, which is just like a big street. It's not like pedestrian friendly. So I mean, can you imagine if they had gotten, which this is why people are angry, if they had gotten the location that, oh yes, French, they brew beer, yes. Oh, and sorry, one of the viewers said he's from Quebec. But he said, is Homewood like Harvey or Dalton? No, actually, Homewood is very financially, in comparison, it's very stable. They have a thriving downtown. The houses are very well maintained. So we're all very near to each other. But no, Homewood does not look like those towns. And do they brew beer? Yes, they brew beer. Yes. French says great view. Okay. But can you imagine, you guys, to get all these people, and it's not even in like downtown Homewood or like where people are walking. So that they're doing something that people like. Do you want to tell us about your beers that you brew? Or like how you guys got into this, what?
Wow. Yeah, the origin story. So I actually used to just drink Miller Lite, and then along came Ray, and she taught me differently. And one day I actually tried bringing Miller Lite to a day-long date that we were having, and she just looked at me, shook her head, and was like, "No, I got to take you back to the store. Let's go." And so we actually went back to the store and ended up purchasing some Three Floyds beer and took it home. And she actually taught me how to appreciate the beer and what to look for and what to pay attention to as I'm drinking it. And I had Three Floyds beer before. I had various other craft beers before, but I just figured that they were good for having higher alcohol contents. I didn't really understand them. And when I paid attention, and that's when it just struck like a gong, like, oh man, this is amazing. And so we started together going out and doing beercations together and exploring the world of beer. And then we got married, and then we went on a honeymoon, and we decided on a 5-year plan of opening a brewery.
Oh, awesome.
Which we opened 4 years and 50 weeks to the day of that plan.
Of that goal. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you guys are on it. And you're Homewood residents as well, right?
Yes.
So they've had their business here in Homewood, and they live here, and they've been involved in the community.
We've raised 5 kids here, sent them all through schools here, and so yeah.
I mean, I was a PTA cookie mom.
Yeah.
Did it's not like we
were integrated into this community for a very, very long time.
We go here, I like to say.
Yes. So you're to me, that's like you guys are the textbook kind of people that we want in our towns. You got a local business, you live here, you have kids here, going to the public school, you care, you're involved. So I mean, to me it sounds amazing.
Inspirational story, and honestly, I just feel like the ass end of the story now.
Yeah.
Right.
We should have been. This is what you aspire to. You work really hard. You put all of, like you do the things, you show up, you hold the people together, you put the dinosaur mask on when it's COVID, you dance out in the street, like you do the things.
And deliver beer to door. You
do all of those things, and that someday your work will be, cemented into something, valid.
Yeah.
So that's not true though.
Yeah. We ended up not being the aspirational story. We ended up being a, well, as I like to put it, a story of the betrayed.
The cautionary betrayal.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was pretty rough. We expected that, being the very first brewery in Homewood, being the original Homewood brewery, that we were going to at least have some serious drag here, and it seemed like we did for a very long time. It seemed like the village was behind us, but it turned out they were not. And instead, it appears that they pretty much exploited us to promote a property to get an owner in there that they would have preferred when they told us very specifically that we were the preferred developer.
And that was a 2-year process, right?
That
You
was
said?
yeah.
They never once were concerned that we hadn't owned a property. In fact, I remember asking, is this a problem? Should I do something about it?
Mm.
No, we know that you live here. Everything's fine.
Right. And we live here. We created this incredible business, from
Nothing.
nothing, and and we built it, and we survived COVID and the many years after, when over 30 Illinois breweries closed. So this was not a good period of time to be in this business. It was terrible, and we were seeing our friends lose their businesses left and right, all in the same industry, but we managed to survive, and because of who we are and because of how well we were able to adjust. Ray is the company president, and she decided early on that we had to take on new strategies, and we ended up becoming a much more event-driven space, and so that's what helped us survive. And so we got out of the distribution game. That was pretty zero sum for us. Like, we were not going to get anywhere with that. It was at best a minor marketing avenue. So what do you think?
Oh, by the way, French Wrench, one of the viewers, he said, yes, Bud is good to get drunk. Home brew beer is more tasty. And then he also says, keep on brewing. So that's nice, French. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to point out it's lit up now because it's dark. So this is the goat for the festival, for the big event you guys have. And when is it again?
It's July 26th.
Okay.
This is the first year we're actually having the large goat. We always have a burn ceremony at the end, but this year it seemed we needed to go a little bigger.
Yeah. So this
and a
this,
little
this
more
is
arty.
awesome.
This is a morphing art piece that's going to continue to morph and grow. There's going to be plants that are strewn throughout the thing, and on Goat Queen Day, all of the attendees are going to be adding pieces to it that are part of the art.
And there's going to be what else did you guys say? Live goats. What else?
30 artisan vendors that celebrate the natural, magical, and mystical. There's going to be wandering magicians. There'll be burlesque and wrestling, and a beautiful goat queen.
Oh, fun.
Music.
Costumes. Everybody dresses up. Well, actually, let me say, you don't have to dress up. If you are not that kind, that's cool. But if you want to be kind of weird and put your horns on and dress like a fairy, or get some wings out,
or drag,
or if you're more of a cosplayer of some other variety, like all cosplay is welcome. So
yes,
yay! So see, this is great, you guys. They're locals, and it's such a unique, artsy business. I mean, I would love to have them in Harvey. I think that it's really a shame how they've been treated. I think as something that is, as you pointed out, is symbolic of what happened to you. I want to show people your van, and then tell us. You can sort of explain about that. Ooh, it's such a pretty sunset. Look at the moon is out, you guys. And if you have any questions, you guys, or any comments, just put them in the comments. So here's their cool van.
And we've always been so proud to drive this around all over the state. Not just advertising our place, but advertising this beautiful place that we live in. And I woke up the next day and I said, I can't do that anymore. I can't.
So if you can't, I don't know if you guys can see, I know it's getting a little dark, but so you see the Rabid Brewing, but then it said Homewood, Illinois, and they covered it up because if you didn't know, well, yeah, tell people. So what happened? There was just a community meeting, just the other night?
Right. And they went with another developer in a real smear job. They misrepresented all of our facts in their report. It was just very clear that they never intended to work with us. They intended for us to market their property and for us to be somebody else's tenant. And when you show up with 100 people to a Tuesday night board meeting and they're told, we hear you, but they do the other thing, That feels gross.
Yeah, well, yeah, after they've been telling us for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a long time to lead somebody on.
Yes, especially since it all started when we said, okay, this space is no longer viable for us. We've grown out of it. We need a bigger space.
Mm.
And so we need to look for another space. And so we started doing so, and we informed the village that we were doing so.
Mm.
And a number of other places took interest. And we had a couple of different properties that we could have purchased and moved into within 3 months.
Mm.
And gone from there with our visit back in 2023. And somehow, Homewood comes back to us and explains to us that we're very excited that they actually have a property for us.
You keep talking to the mic. I just want to move over here because they said they can't see you. It's getting too dark. No, that's all right.
Yeah. So they had a property for us, and
Yeah.
they were thrilled to offer this to us.
Mhm.
And we went, we checked it out. It wasn't ideal,
Right.
but it was something that could keep Rabid in Homewood. And that was the premise
Yes.
of this entire deal, was this is how Rabid can stay in Homewood.
Mm.
They knew this from the beginning. We told them this. This was why they came to us, to keep us in Homewood.
and
That was the point.
This was important too. This was not just advice that some junk we thought up. When we realized that we were kind of in it and that we needed to find a way to grow, I began a process of getting all of the mentoring, all of the help there is to be had.
Mm.
I'm a 2022 graduate of the Scale Higher program of the Women's Business Development Center.
Wow.
And I'm a 2024 graduate of another program running out of Northside. I have had mentors from Let Us Entertain and from the Small Business Development Center and from the SBA
Mm.
and from Let's Talk Women and all of these people that I have come into contact with in the food and beverage industry in particular. They said the way to actually strengthen your business so that you can grow and be stable and help other people
Mm-hmm.
is to own the property. And so I would have never ever stayed for 2 years to be offered the opportunity to rent somebody else's property. This was always about owning this property so that we could be that stable business that could overcome the junk that the restaurant business is.
Right. Yeah. They say it's a tough business. It's, profit margins are very slim. A lot of people don't make it. And you guys have. I mean, look, it looks fantastic. You're doing great. French says they're in Thornton Township. Yeah, French, I think this part of Homewood should be Thornton Township. I thought this was Thornton Township, but I don't know. I know it's the older part of Homewood. I was going to say, here, do you guys want to sit down?
I think we're in
Yeah, we'll have to look. We can look that up later for you guys. I don't know, or if someone wants to look it up online, you can. But yeah, go ahead, get comfy. So yeah, what are you? So emotions are raw right now. Obviously, I can imagine, you're feeling betrayed, angry. What do you have to say to the Homewood the folks on the board who voted like they did? Let's start with them. Well, do you have something that you want to say or convey?
I would ask, for those who call themselves Christians, I would be really concerned about the version of Christ they think they have.
I don't know what happened with all those people, but my guess is that the president of the board, Dick Hofeld, has an iron grip on this board of trustees. And I think that it feels like in a lot of ways, a few of them seem to be along for the ride. They never seem to offer anything at the meetings. And then there are two that seem to talk, each meeting. No matter what, everyone seems to vote in unison. This is unusual. I I worked in open government software. I created a program that I helped code a program that tracked the entire legislative process for small municipalities, exactly like Homewood. This
Homewood is using
they are using some of the products that my stuff was part of a suite of, and Orland Park uses it, Chicago uses it, Milwaukee uses it.
Wait, let me keep talking.
LA uses it.
So what does this do exactly? I'm just grabbing my can. What does this stuff do?
It is.
I'm curious
It
now.
was a legislative tracking system.
Uh-huh.
It was one of the, I think there were only 3 in the country back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And my company built this thing. And so what it would do is it automated a lot of the legislative workflow. So when bills come in, they go to council, then they get referred out to committee. Committee makes recommendations. The bill then, makes another trip, maybe to another committee, maybe the committee of the whole, or somebody, needs to talk about it, and then it goes back to the board. And
so like an electronic way to keep track of
it was
where their legislation goes?
Digitizing the entire legislative workflow.
Oh, okay.
And then
interesting.
One of my sole contribution, one of my contributions to this thing very early on was I created the first automatic HTML publishing of government reports. So once this program created the reports, like your agenda, your minutes, general certifications, things like that, then those things would automatically get published onto their website.
Which happens now, actually, and you can go on the Village of Homewood and you can search through agenda minutes and documents, and it's a wonderful source of repping information when you don't want to FOIA. And if you talk about repping, let's get together.
Yeah, I was gonna say we need to. I would be curious about this.
All of the video. Yeah. All of the video is available. All of the agenda packets.
Oh, so I wonder why more towns aren't using. The reason why I'm curious about this is because since I cover a lot of government transparency issues, a lot of our viewers know like Thornton Township, Dalton, Harvey, but they all have issues with not posting minutes on time or ever, not having packets available before the meeting, so we don't know what they're voting on. We don't know the text of what they're voting on ahead of time. So that's interesting. So it's good to know that there is, if the boards really want to be transparent, there's easy software out there that they can use. So they just choose not to, is what I'm hearing, which doesn't surprise me, but still good to know.
Yeah, and
interesting.
Unfortunately, each municipality out there, they all had different requirements, and so a lot of times what would end up happening is you end up setting a lot of settings. So the government could then decide what information actually gets out. And so we did as much as we could to say, hey, this is stuff you need to put out there, and this is what you get automatically, and you're going to have to pay us money to change that, and most of them did. A lot of them wanted to reduce the amount of
which doesn't surprise me, but still, so that's really cool. You guys love to come back. French says analyst programmer C++. I don't know. I don't know.
No, actually, it was .NET.
Oh, okay. And then French, you were asking what happened again. I don't know. I thought you heard it, but so basically, if you're just tuning in, I'm with the owners of Rabid Brewing in Homewood, and recently the board decided, after stringing them along for 2 years, decided to give the this bill, or make a deal with the city property with a different company. So they're
that's not even from
an outside developer with no interests west of LaGrange Road. No interest less than 50,000 square feet.
No interest east.
I'm sorry, east of LaGrange Road. I'm sorry, I'm so angry I can't even tell east from west. And with no actual plans other than we'll build it, they'll come.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. So the opposing plan. So you guys had a plan. Well, tell us what your plan was, and then we're going to compare to the plan that the board just approved.
So our plan was to really have a much larger space with more different kinds of spaces available. And so we were going to have a 6,000 square foot restaurant and event space that was going to allow us more room for D&D, more room for all kinds of events that we do, and a kitchen to start slinging out some really amazing Puerto Rican food along with our pizzas and some other stuff.
Oh, that all sounds good to me.
So it was going to be this awesome place. We were going to work with the existing 3 tenants that have been there since the building was opened. And
Yeah, because what's there again? Is Great American Bagel still open?
And there's a State Farm agent and the Golden Eye alteration shop. And they've all been there since that building opened in 1990. So we were forward to making that place a better place for them. And then there were 2 empty spaces that we were looking forward to working with locals to find opportunities to work with businesses that are with us. You know, we want another, like there are plenty of places for a dental salon to be. There are plenty of places for, I don't know, something wanted to be for them to strip to really feel like a destination.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And then what is the plan that the board voted on to approve?
So they went with a company called Caton Properties that has that does have extensive experience in managing properties. Something like that. They also seem to. I'm sorry to say that the Google search can show me that they seem to be getting sued a lot too. Just saying. They have really no connections to the community, and their plan was really that they're going to spend a bunch of money and make the building look really nice, and then they'll figure out who's going to come in. They don't really have any. You know, they have a list of companies that they've worked with, which are really respectable regional, regional and semi-national brands. But they are the kind of regional and semi-national brands that you could travel 5 miles in any direction and you could hit one of these.
Right.
That,
not unique at all.
I can tell you that there are no miles that you could travel to hit another Rabid Brewing, and that was unique and wonderful. And
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, it's very disappointing. Let's see, French says how not to help our business owner. Exactly, French. Yep. There was another young lady too. I don't know. She said she was coming, Jennifer.
Yeah, she's here.
Oh yeah. Tell her to come out. I'm sorry, I didn't notice because we've never met in person. But yeah, we may have other Homewood folks to tell us a little bit more too.
Homewoodians.
Yeah, or whoever wants to come out. Yeah, it's nothing formal. The viewers are great. So far, I'm still new to this, but I appreciate you, French. And I know I'm horrible. I have to log in, I think, to YouTube to see who else is watching. But yeah, don't be shy, guys. If you have questions or comments, thank you, French. Merci. How is it in Quebec tonight? Is it lovely? I'm sure it's a lovely evening. You guys have, at least when I went to Quebec, when I've been to Montreal, French, you guys seem to have a lot of nice local businesses there. I mean, I enjoyed them, but I don't know where it's like where you're at. In French, they call it, I think, a brasserie, right? Right, French? Brasserie should be a brewery. Yeah, this is great, though. So, in case you guys, let me show you briefly inside. 1 second. So, look at, isn't that a cool space? Woo! Look. There's sumo wrestling on. So yeah, hopefully Miss Jennifer will be coming out here shortly. You said nice. Canada is really similar to you. Oh, really? Yeah, brasserie, right? Une brasserie. Okay, got it. That's what I thought. Yeah. What city are you near, French? I never asked you. Are you near Montreal or Quebec? So, oh, thank you. Oh, awesome.
Check in.
Oh, appreciate it. Oh my gosh. Wait.
Oh yeah, this week is.
yeah, wait, is you Jennifer?
I am Jennifer. And this is Annie.
Hi.
Hello. You're right. You need some help. You good?
I'm getting swallowed up in the coat, and I'm totally fine with it.
You
Because
gotta
I'm
do what
free.
you gotta do, man.
Yeah, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
But yeah, you guys here, come sit down. We're just doing a live, but we want to know all the good
Oh, there's a
gossip,
microphone.
all the good gossip and bad gossip about Homewood.
This is fancy.
Let's see, what did you say, French?
Well, we've lived here a long time. We've lived here our entire lives.
Go good.
Yeah.
Let's see. French says Bay Saint Paul. Oh, okay. In Charlevoix crater. I don't know. I have to look that up later, French. I'm sorry. One of the viewers. He's a great loyal viewer. He's in Quebec, so he was just telling us. Laura Rack. Okay. Do you guys know Laura? Laura says, "Hey Brian, looks like a beautiful night." It is. It's gorgeous, you guys. It's gorgeous. But yeah, so tell us. Oh, and French says, "Laura, hi." So tell us about you guys grew up here. Tell us about yourselves, ladies.
Our entire lives here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Moved away for college. Came back when we had children. Mm-hmm.
Aww.
To raise our children here.
And you guys are, I'm guessing, okay, so I'm
We're
40,
sisters.
42. Are you guys, I don't know if you're around my age, but okay, so,
41.
because I was talking to the owners earlier and, oops, sorry guys, I hope I'm not covering my mic, but they used to have this, we were having it's a larger debate because when I was in high school in the 90s, see, downtown Homewood had some really cool places.
Great
And it was very like, I remember downtown being very,
off the alley.
alternative. Yes.
Crack alternative.
Yes. And that is what really drew. Yes.
Terra Firma. All the rose incense you could ever want.
Yes. And that was a lot of what drew people to, I think, to the town or to the downtown, particularly for that vibe. And we were talking earlier with the owners where there's a concern that the board, the current politicians in power, it seems like they're almost trying to, I don't want to say, we want to like clean, we only want certain businesses.
Yes.
We want it to be, not whitewashed exactly, but just very, I forgot the word I said earlier, but just very where's the uniqueness?
Yes.
Because I remember kids used to come from all around. I didn't, because I was kind of from a conservative family or whatever, but I remember people loved that kids place where you could come to like a dance or a quote unquote rave, but it was supposed to be safe, and there was no alcohol, but that was really cool.
That was also the age of like the underage club, right? There was Zero Gravity, there was Billy Rose's, there were all these places you could go for music. I remember our parents, every Friday night, we went somewhere where there was a live band and they would call ahead and they'd say, "We have children, can we come?" And they'd say, "Are they drinking?" And they'd say, "No." And then we'd go and it was great. And now it's like we moved away from that as hard as we possibly could. Like we were like, "Oh, no. You come in, you sit down, you have dinner and you get out." And we don't want anyone to rock the boat. We don't want anything weird. Like if you think about it, even just as far as like, just the beautification committee, right? This whole idea that like, oh, I beautified my yard. But the only people who win are people who poison their grass and plant like non-native perennials. And that's it. And they're going to win every year, hand over fist, when there's a million people trying to do native planting in these gorgeous gardens, but they aren't perfect and prim and proper in 50s cookie cutter boxes. And so, my husband and I talk all the time that our neighbors probably hate us because we painted our house Bahama blue, and we were like,
oh,
well,
I want to see.
We're like, oh, there's a gray one. Oh, there's another brown one. Oh, there's another. Oh, there's us, because this is what's wrong with being different. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what we grew up on. Right. Like,
well, and that's part of the pull of Rabid too, is because
yes,
it has that same feel. Places like Off the Alley and Record Swap and all of these places that made Homewood unique in the beginning. This has the same feel, the same draw, the same people come here that went to all of these wonderful places when we were growing up.
Yeah. And some of it is like trying to come back with a fight, right? Like we have the Rock Shop, which is awesome, but it was a battle to be there, and I think that any place that wants to, like, there's this new donut shop, right? They're trying to like really bring the building back to its original feeling, but it's been a fight every step of the way with the village to make it happen because they want their, piece of the pie, and they don't want to put any money into anything that isn't corporate and going to give them tenfold back, which is ridiculous.
Who
Yeah.
they voted for.
They told us that this cake
Yes.
company, it's very corporate.
Yes.
Oh.
Exceptionally corporate, has zero ties to the village. None whatsoever. No ties to the village.
Yeah.
And no solid plan as to what they're going to put in there. Their whole premise is, if you build it, they will come.
Which clearly hasn't worked before.
Yeah, and
right.
somebody came up to the village board and said, I've worked with them. I've worked with them on buildings, and they weren't able to fill the building. It's just sitting there empty.
And can we also talk about how one of the CEOs of the real estate company also was charged with a hate crime? So that's cool. I think that's a great person we want in our community, Right. This has been going on for a long time. Everybody knows Hofeld's got his 2 packets of cards, one for women and one for men, because he's sexist. He's made jokes in front of parents or for children about Viagra to their parents. I mean, the guy is completely out of touch. And everyone on that board is a rubber stamp board. Every single one of them. And they can say all they want that they're not. Even Lauren Roman in the forum said that she would not vote for the Village Hall parking lot to be turned into a building. And then the last vote to extend the bidding process, she voted yes. Why would you do that? Just say no. Say no right away and cut it off right now. Don't even let it continue, right? But no, she's going to vote yes because that's what Holfeld wants her to do, just like everybody else.
Well, and then they don't listen to the opinions of the community at all. They say, we want to hear what you have to say, and then they flatly ignore what's been said. The amount of people that came out in support of Rabid alone was incredible. That they couldn't all fit in the boardroom. They were wrapped outside in the hallway and out the door.
Wow. And that's amazing, especially for a smaller town. That's so rare. That really shows that people really, really care and they really support this business.
And it wasn't just people from Homewood either. These are people from all over the state coming to say, hey, this place is amazing. You need to let them expand. You need to give them the growth potential.
Oh, and French wants to know, he said, are your meetings live?
Our meetings are not live.
But they are posted online,
yes.
the videos? Okay.
Yeah, videos are posted later.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say too about the meetings that I find very frustrating is it's very obvious when you walk in that they've already made their decision.
Absolutely.
Which
oh my God. And I
not okay.
I cover a lot of Southland politics and corruption. And unfortunately, yes, that is so, I've heard this so many times, the same complaint in so many towns. I don't care if it is, from the richest towns in the Southland, like Orland Park, to Harvey, where I live, or Dalton, where Tiffany Henry was president, or the Thornton Township Board. Almost all the boards that people complain about, it's the same thing, where people feel like they're like, look, we told our friends to go out and vote differently, and the same people got in, and then they always say, what do you guys want, or what do you want to see, and then they don't listen. I hear this complaint everywhere.
And I will say this
it's crazy.
Though, right? Well, 30% of the population came out to vote, right? 30%. So that means the people on the board at max could have gotten 30% of the vote. And they didn't. They didn't win with 100% of the people that voted, which means they actually only got about 20% of the population at Homewood voted for them. So to even say that they have any sort of like
a mandate,
real mandate or any sort of real direction of what the people want isn't true, because they haven't even heard them yet. They didn't even come out and vote for them, which is its own problem. People not voting is its own problem.
And what is sad is that is actually a high voter turnout rate for the Southland.
Well, that's because this previous election, there was some contention in it. There was an actual opposing party, whereas previous years or previous elections there has not been.
Right.
We run a political action group and covered we covered all of the candidates. All of the candidates. All of the candidates, interviews and everything. So we don't actually endorse candidates, but we put all the information out there for voters to make their own decisions. So there was a lot of there was a lot of advertising out this time around.
Yes.
for the election.
So why do you think that the green, especially the green candidates, because to me those seemed like the most prominent opposition. Yeah. Why do you think that none of them won any trustee seats?
Well, I think funding was an issue.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
big time.
Funding was an issue. They had less cash flow.
Yeah.
Than
Yep.
their counterparts.
Absolutely. And just in general, I think as people running, they were, as individuals, more financially strapped than those running. And then also didn't get the donations that these because these bigger groups have access to all of the companies in Homewood in a way that, you know, they got from Homewood Disposal, they got from
which, if you notice, also Homewood Disposal got their TIF.
Yes, they did.
Continued.
Yep.
And TIFs are I haven't even covered TIFs, but that's on my list because TIFs are so abused everywhere.
Yeah,
they really are.
I want to bring oh, sorry. Laura said that she had growing up, Laura, she said her house used to be painted pink.
Yay.
Love it.
So there you go.
I have a yellow door. I'm all about it.
And she said now it's an awful brown. Well, Laura, you should paint it back, girl. Do it. But yeah, you know, there's this guy I wanted to bring to speak to. Actually, they credited, I'm blanking on his name right now, but they credited the fact that activists in Orland brought him out. He speaks on TIFs and he advises anybody in any town to, you know, not use them because it becomes a slush fund that takes money away from your taxing bodies that need it.
Yep.
And then the politicians will end up using it for things where a lot of times you don't even know what they're doing. So they credited the turnover, the incumbent in Orland lost.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that one of the community organizers there said, hey, well, we brought, like he does charge a fee. I think he said it's like $2,000 or something, but that's not that bad. And he came and they organized, you know, they tried to get as many people come and he gives like a seminar on TIFs.
Yeah.
And they said that was one of the big things that Dodge, I think, is their new village president in Orland. And that was, you know, people were angry at the PCOW because they were like, what are you doing with TIFs? And Orland is probably our richest municipality in the Southland.
They don't need it. The businesses coming to Orland are coming because they want to be there. They don't need TIFs over there.
Right.
Like, come on.
And that is why so much of this stuff is suspicious because,
and I work in that school district. And so not that the school is like, you know, like crazy broke or anything, but like they could use the money. All schools could use the money, right? You know who doesn't need the money? Walmart, Costco, like those places don't need the money. Why are we giving them TIFs, right?
Yes.
Like, come on. These are multi-billion-dollar companies. Like that's the last thing they need. It's the same thing with the building. So one of the other things that is, I think, apparent is that one of the things that Holfeld is trying to do is that they ran a home rule vote and it didn't pass. The people did not want it. It didn't pass, right? And part of the reason I think they didn't want it is they don't trust this board. So
and for those of you who don't know, home rule, at least in Illinois or Cook County, basically it just gives the municipality a lot more power in what sort of fees they can charge, what sort of laws they can pass.
And without going to a vote.
They don't have to go to a vote. And they don't have to come to the residents, which we don't like.
Yeah.
We want, if you are going to push something through, we want to know about it. And we want you to ask our permission for it.
Especially because, I mean, like if you look at the referendums, Homewood and Flossmoor have never not passed a referendum. So if you're asking for money, as long as it's valid, for the most part, this community has always said yes. So why is it that you don't want, like the only reason I can think of that you don't want to come to the community about additional funds is because it's for something you know we don't want.
Right.
And so the putting in this condo building in downtown Homewood where the new Stony Point Grill is, and trying to put one in the parking lot, in my opinion, and they're turning another Spornet building into condos, is because they want to get to, they're at 20,000 residents and they want to get to 24,000 so they can get automatic home rule.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
That is my theory. They want to get at least that 4,000 number, which they can only get with condo buildings. There's no other way. We're landlocked.
We're landlocked and you can't build out.
Right.
So you have to take existing properties and build up.
Yes, because they also want to take that property, over by Dairy Queen. It's a giant property. And you know what? Fine. You want to put condos there, put condos there. Don't put them in our only major parking lot. You know, whenever they have the farmers market or the festivals or the roller derby or any of that parking lot is jam packed and spread out into the community.
But if you ask the board, they'll tell you there's plenty of parking. Nobody wants to park by Blueberry Hill and walk a mile in to go to the festival
You
or
can't
to
if
go
you're
to the farmer's
handicapped.
market.
What do you do if you're handicapped? You can't do that. If you have small children, that's just unreasonable, you know? What if you live all the way? I mean, like, that's the other thing is our town is cut in half by train tracks. And if you live on the other side of those train tracks, it's impossible to get to downtown Homewood in a safe way. And so to say that you're gonna, you know, that we don't need these parking lots is crazy. It's just not true. And if you're going to do something like that, then fine, put a parking structure
garage
underneath it. All the other communities are doing it and it's working out for them. You know, I just think that there are smarter, better ways to do things. They just want to do it the fastest, easiest, you know, cheapest way possible. And you end up with things like the Hartford building that doesn't look anything like the rest of the community. It doesn't match.
Is that the new condo building?
That's the new condo building.
Because I do or are y'all in Michigan? No, this is just south of Chicago, Laura. But we're not that far from you.
Come visit.
Yay. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so I'm all about, you know, keeping the old buildings, restoring them, and then matching the styles, like you said. So I was shocked when I saw them build that. I thought that the prior building, although I agree with Hofeld in that I'm a fan of urban density. I love the idea of more and more people living in the downtowns and it being walkable, so you don't need cars. Like, that's good. But like when I saw the execution of that project, I was like, that's so ugly. And it doesn't fit. It does not fit.
Now, mind you, the building before it was in horrific.
Yes, it was.
But it looks a lot better.
It did.
Yes,
it needed to go.
At least it fit in. It was Bellagio's, right? Bellagio's there.
Well, and I think we were all under the assumption that I was even fine with, like, I know Stony Point has an original restaurant in Mokina, I think it is. And I was totally fine with them opening a second location. That's cool. Why not? Right. But then for them to be like, oh, here's some money to build a second location. I'm like, no. You already have you already have
Oh, that's
building.
Interesting. Oh, so they were giving them
they gave them money. Yes. And I'm like, wait a
I believe
minute.
Maple Tree Inn also got money.
See, but that's different because I feel like they were reopening.
But so
After
would
a
Rabid
fire.
have been reopening.
Yes, and that's fine too. The idea of giving someone money to build a second, like, they're just making money on their money. You know, that's, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. They're already an established business. They don't need it, you know?
Right.
If you're moving your entire business from one location to another, that's super expensive. I absolutely get that. But if you already have the funds to open a second business, you don't need the money, right? Like,
and the reason why I went, oh, sorry, Laura, you're West Kentucky. Okay, that's all right. That's so cool. That's really pretty this time of year. But one of the reasons why we're covering this tonight, you guys, is because a lot of times, you know, we've been talking about Harvey. We've been talking about, and Calvin, you're welcome to speak too if you want. You can say whatever you want. He's one of the bartenders, guys. He's here.
He's wonderful.
But you know, whether it's Harvey, Dalton, Thornton Township, Cal City, wherever I'm covering, I hear these same complaints where residents are saying, how are you spending our money? How are you spending our tax money? And politicians, a lot of these boards will do anything but be accountable for how they're spending your money. Because again, as you heard the ladies, and I told them myself, I'm a fan. I love, you want to do build up, you want urban density in the downtown. I want that for downtown Harvey. It's great. But how you do these things and with what money matters. You can't just, as you said, you can't just go with the first thing that a developer throws out to your town. And a lot of, at least you guys, now this is where I know you still have a lot of complaints, but Homewood is lucky, you guys, if you're not familiar with Homewood, like at least they have a lovely downtown. Many suburbs, many suburbs, their goal is to be, and I should say walkable with character and everything. Laura, you followed the Dalton debacle. Yes, exactly. So Homewood is, yes, we're just a few miles from Dalton, from Harvey. We're all close together, okay? But Homewood has a nice walkable downtown, guys. The crazy thing is that, and I kind of sense a little bit of this coming from home, but a lot of our Southland towns, the politicians are thrilled if they get a strip mall.
Yes. What is that?
And I'm like, that is the lowest form of development. It's ugly. It's so basic. But I mean, and we even had, like, this was before I had moved back to the area, but in the early 2000s, I don't know. But anyway, but there was, like, in Harvey, like, we've lost so many of our historic buildings in downtown Harvey, which was like the main downtown when my mother was growing up. Like, that's where everybody went. And they demolished some old buildings, and they literally put like a strip mall looking like Bank. And like, I just want to gouge my eyes out, because, like, you know, especially for the towns like Homewood, like because you cannot include Orland. They don't have a walkable downtown. I'm trying to think of what else.
They're trying to turn us into, and I hate that. Like,
especially the whole corridor.
Oh, this is trash. I mean, here's the thing. Do I shop over here? Yes. Will I drive on Halstead? 100% no. I will never drive on that street. I will do every backward, weird way to get to the store I need to get to and avoid that street, because it's terrifying and dangerous and congested, and it just doesn't make any sense. And, like, I mean, every other day there's an accident on this street. It's crazy. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't even, and, like, it feels like we're not even patrolling it. Like, where are police? Like,
they're over in the parking lot.
In the church. There we go.
Yeah,
they're hanging out. You know, the popular hangout spots for the police.
You know, and I mean, the thing is, I don't deny that we have a great town, because I really, really, really feel that we do. My concern is I don't want it to stop being a great town. And I fear that that's where we're going. You know, I think we have we tout our diversity while our board has a fear of it. You know what I mean? That's what I think it is.
Especially when Hofeld in his interview says, I don't like the word diversity.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah. He said that out loud. I don't like the word diversity.
And
because it means difference. And yes, it does mean difference. But that's the great thing.
That's the great thing.
We want the differences.
Yes.
We want to appreciate the differences between me and you and you. And expand that.
Yeah.
You know?
A species without diversity goes extinct. Like, it's not okay. Like, you need to have that diversity. You need to have that, and not even just like in how people look, but how we think, how we do everything we do in our financial status and everything. I mean, growing up here, it was across the board. I mean, you would have people, you know, on food stamps and you know, who are in Section 8 housing and things like that, next to, you know, a $500,000 house, right? And sometimes it was weird. Sometimes it involves some bullying, and, you know, but at the same time,
learned a lot.
And you learn how to get along with different people.
And
so
it was a great thing to grow up.
Yes.
The diversity and the uniqueness of it, and pushing out.
Yeah. And you had
places like Rabid, pushing out places like Off the Alley, Record Swap, pushing these places out really changes the feel of
it
does. My husband grew up in and yours too, right? In Chicago Heights. And they both looked at Homewood as this, like,
the place to be.
Yes, this not only the place where they would hang out, but also the place to, like,
where they
strive to be, to, like,
want to move.
To grow up and be able to live there, you know, like, that was like an achievement, you know. And now it's becoming less and less of an achievement. It's becoming more of people being like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe, you know, like, it's not like, I have people asking me about it all the time where I work, like, because they think we don't have anything, you know, like, they don't realize the businesses that we have, the restaurants that we have, the vibrant community that we have, until I explain it to them. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go to that. And it's like, yes, you do. But, like, we don't promote that outside in any way. And a community cannot live off of itself, right? It can't live off only our own money.
I thought you guys did a lot of marketing, so not as much.
I feel like
there was a short period of time, when there was they did do a marketing. There was
Mark Fishman, Good old promo there, Mark Fishman.
Oh, that was the company?
That was, he's
He's a resident and he's a graphic designer, and he also part owns Unshaven Comics. So they write a comic book series. They own the company. Yep. They do a variety of different artwork, and they will do even commissioned work. But
and they were part of the Think Homewood.
Yes. So they did these cartoon strips, and they were in
the L's.
The L's.
Downtown.
And there were a lot of people that came here. Like,
you guys should do that again. Do that again. I like that.
And we had all these people that moved to the area. And then we also had a chunk that moved to Flossmoor because Flossmoor started promoting, and a long time ago, their 1950s houses. So they have all of these super amazing original 1950s houses. And it's not like, oh, this block is all the same 1950s house. It was like, oh, some architect built this one, and then they built this really cool one. And, so they're all very different. So there was a surge of people looking for those, and they were like, oh, wait, we can afford Flossmoor. They have good schools. They have these amazing houses we're looking for. We're going to move out of the city and go to Flossmoor and Homewood. And then some of them went to Flossmoor and they went, oh, crap, we can't afford Flossmoor. Let's move to Homewood. They also have some of those houses.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right. But so both of the communities have this big push. Flossmoor, I think, is sticking with it, with their run, with their whatever gem.
The
hidden gem half marathon. I don't run. That's not. I mean,
unless
maybe
I'm being chased.
Maybe.
And then it depends on him.
Yeah, and like what? If it's a bear, I might just cuddle it and it'll eat me, and it's fine. But I think that we've lessened that. Right. And instead, it's like we're thinking, I don't know, like these big companies or something are going to bring people, but like they're not. That's not how that works. Like when I was talking to a friend who was considering moving out of her community and she was asking me about where I live, I was like, come to our art and garden fair. That will tell you who we are. Right. Like that's what, like, those are the things that draw people in, the things that you do for them. Right. Like, what is it our community is doing for us? Because we're doing plenty for our own community, So what are they doing for us?
Right. And I like that it's featuring, locals. Like, I agree with you. I'm all about local, let's support local businesses, unique, anything that's not a chain.
Yes.
Because what I tell people, and you'd be surprised, a lot of even higher up politicians, they don't get it or they're not interested in getting it. But I said, Laura says, shout out to Mark Fishman for you too. Oh, how many people? Oh, Laura says her city's about 20K. Okay. And Tiffany amazed me with her extravagance and ignorance. Oh yes, yes. So you guys, so this is more of when we're covering corruption and or problems in Homewood. So some places, some boards are a little more subtle. I think Homewood is an example of that, where they know enough to say and do certain things to, like you said, diversity, or no, I guess the mayor didn't want to say diversity, but they'll say some things, but then when it comes down to it, that's why we're covering this tonight, because you see the extreme anger when people are saying, you have a business here that is awesome, it's local, it's unique, it's a safe place for LGBT people, for nerdy people, for people who, like me, I was always a nerd, for people who might not fit in,
Like, so my son recently, I know they've been doing this for a long time, but he recently started coming here. He was going to a Dungeons and Dragons group at the Science Center, and unfortunately the guy who ran it suddenly passed away, and it was gone. And so they do one here on Saturdays for kids, and like, I know it's a bar and some people are weird about that, but no,
I think that's great. I think it's fun.
Family friendly environment here.
Great, and it's all these super nerdy kids, and there's no I love
judgment.
No judgment. And I love my son, and he unfortunately does get bullied because he is a super nerd, and we all were there once, right?
Totally understand that.
But that doesn't happen here. He comes here and he is who he wants to be, and they're all who they want to be, and no one says a mean word. And they're just great. And it's one of the bartenders who runs it, and like, it's just amazing. And like, I don't know how, it's like herding cats. I don't know how he does it.
Right.
Like, all of these children screaming and just doing whatever they want. And yet somehow they still have a game and it finishes. I don't know. But
that's one of the
it's amazing.
That is so frustrating, is because the community has come out in support of this business in particular. And they've come out in support of other businesses as well. Yes. That the village has just been like, no, we're not going to.
Yeah, that's what's crazy to me is the disconnect. Is seeing the residents are,
Absolutely. And that what they don't seem to understand is they work for us.
Yeah, right.
They work for us. We pay you. You work for us. You are elected to
represent
our interests, not the other way around.
Mhm.
Okay. So, and I think that
Yes.
much of this board doesn't seem to understand that.
Right.
Or care.
Oh, so frustrating.
And that's something that's, like I said, that we've seen that in so many places, at the federal level, at the state level, in Harvey, Dalton, Portland Township, Cal City, so many places I've covered. This is a similar thing where people just think that the politicians just think, well, all I have to do is get elected and then I can disregard the public and I can do whatever I want until the next election.
Well, and we're no strangers to this. When we started our first picket line, I was 9 and you were 11 or 12. Our mom has tried to start multiple unions, successful in one. I've started a union.
Oh, good for you guys.
We've been members of the League of Women Voters since we could vote.
Very
politics
good.
is in our blood. Our grandfather was at the '68 Democratic Convention. We have the poster to prove it. It's very much part of who we are, and we're very much supporters of our congressional Robin Kelly, our representative, and she's amazing. But she also covers from here to Kankakee, and so oftentimes we're kind of versed in some of the things that are happening in the other communities as well. I mean, we knock doors for our commissioner. We've the number of things that we've participated in the wider Southland community is pretty large, and so it does feel a little almost privileged to be complaining about this a little bit, because we know that there are communities with much bigger problems, but this is where it starts. Right. It starts with the little things, with them not listening on this business or that road change or this parking lot, right? And then it becomes Tiffany Henyard,
right.
It becomes this bigger thing that's a lot more terrifying and dangerous. And, we don't want to get to that point. You have to intervene immediately or it will, you gotta make your voices heard.
And ultimately I think it's actually, I don't think it is a small thing because,
all politics are small and then work.
And your board is not listening to the people. And so that's why when I saw this on Facebook, I wasn't trying to be mean, but I was just posting to say, okay, home residents, what are you going to do? You're angry, but that's my question. What are you going to, because to me, when I heard that story, I didn't even know a lot about it, but I was angry already. So I've been arrested in Harvey. I've been arrested in Dixmoor. My alderwoman's been arrested 3 times. We are all about speak up for the people, because that's the common thread that we all notice. Board members are buddy. Yep.
They are.
But that's the common thread we notice is that you see on so many of these public boards, the resistance to any sort of feedback or any sort of no, we said, no, don't do that. And they're just oh, okay, well, whatever. Now, it might look a little different depending on the town. I watched the Jed Clark interview. Oh my God, Laura, wasn't that a mess? Someone just interviewed our mayor the other night, and I covered it. It was it shows his true colors. But the point is some places people get arrested, other places they sometimes it might be a little more subtle as far as silencing, but it doesn't matter. It happens in different ways, but people are being silenced, and that's not okay. That's the common theme we notice. And you see it on TV. You see it with the ICE raids, right? You see it with the people going after students on campuses when they want to protest, whether it's Palestine or whatever they call, and it's well, wait, no one is safe, you guys. That's what we have to remember. When anyone is silenced, know that it silences free speech for everybody.
Yes. Well, and on some of these things, I'm going to do a little more promoting here, if I can. There's an organization in Chicago Heights called Comunidad de la Acción, and they are They've been around for quite a while.
They're wonderful.
Wonderful people. It was a woman and her husband who started it, and they are an organization that helps immigrants. So they will help you with if you need to file your visa for a visa, if you need to, like, all of that stuff, right? They're going to help you with your pay. Work permits, all of it. They're going to help you, but they also try their best to follow local ICE rights and notify people.
I'm glad to know that, because I was wondering, because we have a lot of people don't even realize about Harvey, but we have
send you a link to their page.
Oh yeah, please do.
They're fantastic. They also another thing for people to know. So it sounds weird because it sounds like ICE, but ICIR, ICIRR, that is an organization, government organization that works to defend immigrants. So if you or your family are at all caught up in an ICE raid, there's information on there about knowing your rights, who to contact, how to contact, cards that you can give to, like if you're picked up an ICE raid, you can give it to them with, like, it's got your language on one side, literally 9 different languages, their language, English on the other side, that says, like, I'm not going to speak until I talk to a lawyer. I'm not, like, all of these
Where's
things,
that based?
right?
Where's ICIR based at?
ICIR, it's a government organization. So they're a non-for-profit through the government, but it is literally immigrant rights. Yeah.
Is it based in the Southland or somewhere?
No,
else?
it's U.S.
Or like,
National.
Like,
It's national.
okay.
National.
Yeah.
And so they're supposed to, people put them up, but they get ripped down. In the detention centers, there are phone numbers for ICIR for people to call. So if you get picked up, you can call and be like, hey,
I had not heard of that one. But that's all. This is all, like, so applicable. So what do you think? What is the what can you do? I know these owners, I feel so bad for them. They are, angry, disappointed.
Wonderful
they seem
people.
really defeated. Like, now they're gonna have to be like, okay, we have to go somewhere else. But I'm always like, no, you guys shouldn't accept this. Yeah.
Stay and fight.
Like, what can you guys do?
I can't certainly force them to stay and fight, but so the board meetings, it's very hard for me to go just with my work and my son's schedule. But my next step, personally, I have a really long history of doing letters to the editor that get published in our local paper.
Okay.
I did one for when they were trying to sell the Calumet Country Club. That got me in a little bit of hot water because the guy did not like what I wrote and tried to call me at work. I don't know how I know how I got my work number. I'm a public employee, but my degree is in creative writing. It's kind of like where my wheelhouse is. So I like to try and use my words to,
in which you have a right to do. Again, that's your free speech, right? Now, did you, when you're saying local paper, you're talking about the Homewood Flossmoor Chronicle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I feel like
Chronicle, the Patch.
the reason
you guys do
find,
Patch too. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering
the reason
what you
I
guys
find the
use.
Chronicle the most important is because it is subsidized by our government in that it is mailed to every single home in Homewood and Flossmoor.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, like, I could try to send it to the Tribune. I could try to send it to these other bigger papers. And I have before, but the difference is those aren't in everyone's mailbox.
Oh, so that's interesting. So it's subsidized by the village to make sure everybody gets
everyone's mailbox.
Or by the villages, I should say, Homewood and
believe
Flossmoor?
so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or at least it was original. I don't know if it still is, but I know that it was, because when they first got off the ground, I mean, and even now, I wrote for them for a little bit, and it was, it was very, like, it was the most grassroots newspaper you could possibly have.
I usually just read online if I ever do.
It was like 6 people or something that were like, we're going to make a newspaper, and like, awesome for that. But like, that's a really hard thing, right? To just be like, we're going to do this out of thin air. But now it literally every single month it goes in your mailbox, and every resident and the letters to the editor are in there.
Now, how do you feel that do you feel the coverage from the HF Chronicle has been adequate, or how do you feel that the coverage for this whole Rabid brewing issue has been?
So. But you know what I'm going to say? Here's what I will say. I don't, as far as I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, everyone on the Homewood Chronicle has an actual job that they work 40 hours a week, and then they do the Chronicle. And so, like, would I have loved for the coverage to be more? Absolutely. Do I think that's, was that a choice? I have no idea. I also know that, like, they've got like 4 or 5 reporters, maybe, like, it's just not, I wish that they could be better funded so that they could be at everything and that they didn't have to have other jobs and they could just do this.
Well, I was shocked. I don't know if you guys realize this, but I'm talking to the owners here. They said that they have not been approached yet for any comment. So, because I believe last time and that's how I found out about this.
Yeah.
I saw the HF Chronicle. I think it was like a sponsored post on Facebook.
Okay.
And so I saw that, and then I thought the editor Eric Crump said he was going to do like a second part of it or something or whatever. So it's not. So it seems like this isn't their first. Like they put out at least one or two articles so far.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I'm like, oh wow. I would certainly expect them to.
Probably will.
I'm actually honestly curious why they haven't approached them.
Yeah.
Which I think is a question that we as community members ask. Which
because obviously they're not shy about talking.
The owner or the people who run the Chronicle are approachable.
They are absolutely. 100%.
Okay, good. So hopefully they will.
Yeah. And sometimes I do
get
get
that.
messages from them, like I remember, and I didn't respond. I'm sorry, Eric Crump, if you're watching. So we were at one of the protests downtown and we ran into them on the train and he was like, I'm just here as a protester. I'm not here as a reporter. And then he was like out there with his camera and I'm like, oh, you don't know how to stop. But, and, but literally, it was like a week later, he was like, I totally should have asked you some questions on the train and sent me an email. And,
he also has contacted me when I put out posts on so we run a group, Action for a Better Tomorrow. And that's a local group here.
I want to learn about that.
Yeah, it's a great local group. It's
statewide. But we started in about 2017.
Right.
It came out of the Women's March. There was an organization, Women's March in Chicago. A chunk of them wanted more, right? We wanted more action. And so we created Action for a Better Tomorrow. There was an umbrella group, and then there were smaller groups.
And what do you got? What is this focused on?
So
promoting democracy?
Items, yeah, it's promoting democracy and actionable items that people in the community can do. Like letter writing and campaigns and
postcards, door knocking.
Just the protests you can go to. And it takes all of the events posted by Indivisible and Move On and ACLU and all these things in one location.
Well, we'll have to work together.
Yes,
and you should come to our next if you can. I would say come to our next Harvey City Council meeting. It's Monday, June 9th at 6 p.m. But we're
school.
Oh, good. If you can come, because what I want to do, part of my goal of doing more YouTube lives and continuing my coverage is when I have the time. That's why you need mods, Ryan. I know. French, you want to be a mod? No, someone just posted a really weird comment and I had to ban it. It was like a spam thing. Thanks, French. You could be a mod, French.
We're very particular. We are very particular about who we allow in the group.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of going through Facebook profiles as well as questions you have to answer and before we approve you to even be a member of.
Well, and one of the things we've discovered is that if someone invites you to our group, you might not even see the question.
Yeah.
It's only if you click on the link. And so that's why 50501 Illinois, some of those are very much you have to use the link and answer the questions and all of that stuff. And so we kind of all right, well, they didn't answer the questions, but they're friends with this person and this person and this person.
And profile and it's cool.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And they didn't start their profile a week ago, so that's good. We try to vet people to make sure we don't have any trolls or anything like that.
Well, and I want to see people from different towns in the Southland talking to each other, because I've noticed that everybody seems to be in their own little silo.
It's all over. It's not just Homewood residents. It's not just Flossmoor residents. We have Portland members. We have Oak Forest members. We have Joliet. We have members from all over the Southland here. So we try to combine as much as we can, and it's hard because there's only 4 of us that are really 2 major ones, us 2, and then 2 that help moderate the group. But there's
I don't know. I feel like Leslie's pretty major.
Yeah, but you guys, that's
so
where
3 of us that are pretty much breaking up all the different events to cover, the different board meetings and the different,
Well, maybe you guys can, or we can coordinate. because I was talking to some YouTubers that have they covered, Thornton Township, Dalton, especially the one we're trying to take the momentum
Yes.
of local government interests
Yeah.
from Tiffany Henyer.
Mhm.
We're trying to while people are still interested, we're trying to shift that
Yes.
to make people realize that there is so much local corruption just in the
Oh,
Southland to cover.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, don't
Yeah.
tune out.
Well,
Don't think just because Tiffany
no.
is gone that it's all gone.
'Cause
And
it's
so if
not.
we can connect to you guys, I know people, like I said, in Dalton. I know this one guy's
Absolutely.
in Northwest Indiana. It's like there are people, and I feel like we all have to,
Yeah.
help each other out, communicate.
Absolutely.
There's so much stuff to cover.
Yeah.
I don't have enough time in the day.
It's amazing.
And we all have jobs.
yes, right.
Right.
And
That's how I am too. Right.
we're
Exactly.
Very grassroots. So one of the things about our organization is we are not like a 501c3. We're not, we have no tax filing. We have nothing because we don't want your money. I don't want your money. I don't want to deal with your money. I don't want to file anything. I don't want to report anything. I don't want to touch anything. And a lot of
We're strictly informational
yes,
and
yes.
Like organizational.
actionable items.
Yes.
So, and we
Mm.
do have meetings. We do have meetings.
Oh,
Where
definitely
people-
send me the info. I'm so
yes.
curious.
And they're not regular. It's like,
Once
sporadic.
a month, once every 2 months, we have
Mhm.
an in-person meeting
Mm.
where we get together and we discuss like a big action item that we're going to
Right.
do. Like one of the things we're doing
Oh,
now is we're writing to the biggest unions in the country to encourage them to make a public statement to bring Kilmar Garcia back in the country.
Oh, that is big.
Yeah, as
so-
a union member, it's important that all of the major unions support protection of their employees. you know?
Right.
These people have paid into your union for how many years? It's your job to protect them.
Well, and there's other stuff I'd like to get you guys maybe involved with if you're interested. Like, for instance, I haven't even had time to cover District 116 Country Club Hills. There is there's a petition to remove their I think their superintendent.
Okay.
They had a substitute teacher who was on the news the other day,
Mhm.
charged with assaulting a child.
Yes.
So like that, I haven't even had time to get to that. I have so many reports of corruption in District 227, which are the rich township high schools.
Yep.
There's
and
stuff
one
in
of the
Sauk
things-
Village. There's stuff in Linwood. Like I don't even have time. So my dream would be to have like a group of people where we could say, "Hey guys, we all need, like you said, actionable items. Everybody come to this meeting in Linwood or Harvey or Homewood that this day, like if we had an action group for the whole Southland, like if we knew about this stuff with Rabid,
Yeah.
and we could say, hey, anybody and everybody who can come to this meeting,
Go do the thing.
because a lot of times people, they want to help, but they just they don't even know what's going on, or
Yes.
they don't know what to do.
That is
So
what we've learned. And sometimes we're in that position too. I mean, you should see our message chain between the three of us where we're just like, what do we do? And we're like, I don't know. Right?
Well, and it was like
We're
the
not
Homeland
experts in
Security
this.
thing. It was like so Homeland Security came to Homewood, and it was we found out about it early in the morning when there was a raid in Homewood, and we were like, oh my god!
Like you
is
see
this an
agents getting
ICE
out of
raid?
trucks with things on. You don't know.
right, and it's like
So
notify
one of our
everybody.
action things we had was we had all our members call up to the police department
Mhm.
and be like, what is going
Start
on?
grilling them.
Start grilling them.
Yeah.
Get us
Smart. I
information.
love that.
And I called 3 times.
Right.
Good.
I called myself.
Gotta do what you gotta
3 times.
do.
But
And of course their answer, they weren't going to give an answer at first, but so many people called up that they had to put out
They
a
had to
press
do
release.
something. Yeah.
Good.
You know?
I love that kind of
And
stuff.
like that's and there's so much of that where like we're learning as we go, right? We don't know everything, and sometimes we're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna maybe we try really, really hard not to post false information. We really review and try to vet. Like that's one of our things is like we don't want anyone to post anything on our page that doesn't have sources.
Yep,
That
so
doesn't
everything
have,
has to be approved.
Yes.
Every post has to be approved through us.
and they have to be reputable sources, right?
Right.
Like they're like, do I like what Occupy Democrats puts out? Absolutely, of course they do. But at the same time, like just a statement with like someone's name in a photo isn't enough, right? Like that's there's nothing I can do with that. Like that's just something somebody said,
Right.
and that's great. But like, what is that? How does that solve
that-
anything?
how does that translate?
And how do I even
into
know that it's true without some
Yeah.
sort of link or something to tell me where this came from? And I think it's really, really important that everything that we do, we can back up. That we can say like, here's where I got my information. Here's why I know it's good. You know, like here is what I think because the only way we can form our own opinions is if we have all of the information provided to us.
And I'm glad you said that.
In an environment of so much false information.
Yes.
Right.
Vetting that information is so important.
Yes, and I was talking with some other YouTubers about that because there are some I'll say so-called activists out there that you do have to be careful because when we've had a lot of people come from out of town that were covering Tiffany.
Yes.
Now, some people, they would spread rumors with bad intentions, but again, they weren't verifying. And so what happens is that whether it's malicious or not, see, that reflects poorly on any of us that are trying to call ourselves activists or whatever, trying to help. And then people are going to start tuning us out because they're going to be like, oh, that's just another YouTuber, blah, 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 blah. For instance, just lately, I haven't even had time to check it, but I think the super server, they call him, the guy that served Tiffany.
Oh, yeah.
He had shared something, or another YouTuber said something, but anyway, it was saying like, oh, they're gonna arrest Tiffany, and it wasn't true. And see, this is where another YouTuber was like, she gets mad because I respect her. She always, checks her sources and everything, but she's like, that's irresponsible. They shouldn't have shared that because then people are like, oh, really? What happened? What happened? And then she's like, that's not true.
Yes.
It was all over Facebook.
Well, and I think for us, like we both have children and it's so important. Like this is what our kids watch nowadays. They watch YouTube. They don't watch
right.
TikTok or whatever. They're not watching TV like we did growing up. Look, I'm not even watching TV anymore. Like no one's watching TV anymore. And so it's really important too that like not only are we doing, like we're setting an example and showing our kids like this is how you vet the people you're watching. This is how you know. Like my son will come to me all the time and be like, did you know? And I'm like, where did you hear that?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what's your source?
Let's verify.
Tell me your source.
Laura said good night. She had just to go, but she said, Brian, nice and constructive group chat. You ladies and gentlemen have a great night. Thank you, Laura. Good night. Thank you for joining us. And I won't keep you guys, but so give us some concrete thing. What can people do? Let's just say that home residents are riled up. Yes. You guys have the rights to tell this board to change their vote and to give this business that space. What can you do to make that happen? What do you think?
Two things. I think one, of course, always go to the board meetings is great, but I understand if you can't, right? Like, right. If you can't,
the board,
call or email or especially email or physically write a letter, because part of the Open Meetings Act, they have to add that to the public record. They have to add any letters and any emails you write and say, I want this in the public record, and they will have to include it.
Oh, okay.
It's super important. But that's with any of your board, like school boards, village boards, all of that, right? Like if you...
Same thing with an email though.
Yes, same thing with an email.
I want this on the public record.
I'm a fan of faxes.
Oh.
Personally, fill up their fax machine. Make that thing run for days. It's amazing.
That's smart. Okay.
All of your Congress people have fax machines.
And
just so you know.
Fax Zero?
Yes, Fax Zero.
You can send them for free.
Like unlimited?
Online.
Yes.
It's like 2 per day.
Something like that. So you could like, I'm going to send the village of Homewood and I'm going to send my congresswoman.
Oh, okay. I like that. Because I just wanted to give people some things to do because talking to these owners, I felt so bad for them. And I'm like, I don't want them to think it's a done deal.
And tell them you want it on the public record.
Yes, that you do not agree with this vote. Because the thing is, right, like the more, and also your newspapers, even your local newspapers, even if it's not in Homewood, be like, hey, by the way, this happened, right? Because people who come here aren't just from here.
Right.
And you don't want your village to make the same mistake.
Right. Yes. And we are all interconnected as a region.
We absolutely
So that's the only reason why I'm glad we're covering this tonight.
We share park district. We share townships. Think about this. Homewood
has 4 townships.
And not every state has townships. I know that we're kind of weird, but we have 4 townships in Homewood, and those branch into our other communities, right? We are all connected.
Right.
We're not an island.
French says like asking for a FOIA. Exactly. Yes. We work on that too.
And which is what I did with the Homeland Security raid. I FOIA'd that.
Oh yeah, we'll be submitting a FOIA.
Smart.
We FOIA all kinds of stuff.
I love it. Ah.
Koyas are my favorite.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
I'm freezing, but we'll do another one. We'll have to do another one sometime.
Absolutely.
So thanks, guys. Wait, let me. I'm still getting better at using this on my phone. Sorry, I'm going to turn it around to say goodbye to you all, and then we're going to go inside the bar and warm up. Let's see, facing front. Okay. Okay, wait, can you guys see me now? Okay.
Oh, wait,
Thanks. Oh, okay. Ooh, thanks for joining us, guys. This is so fun, and yeah, I may go live later. Just so you know, there was some Harvey stuff and other things I wanted to cover, but bye for now. Au revoir.
No, I was talking too much.